Okay, so I am with Andrii Teslizhenko,
Yeah, that's correct.
who formerly worked with the Ukrainian embassy, and I've been speaking with Andrii, and he has some amazing information about this whole Russian witch hunt, is what I call it. Anyway, I linked up with Andrii in the past couple of weeks, and I'm really excited to share what he has to say about some things that happened during the 2016 election that the mainstream media just refuses to report on. So thank you, Andrii, for coming on for a few minutes with me. Maybe you could start out by describing a little bit about your background and what you were doing in 2016, and then a little bit about what's going on today.
Yeah, I'm a former Ukrainian government official. Before I was a Maidan activist, part of the Maidan revolution in Ukraine, and then became an advisor to the first deputy prime minister and advisor to the prosecutor general of Ukraine, and then was working in the Ukrainian embassy in Washington as a political officer, overseeing the elections and the election process in the U.S., the presidential elections. And that's what I did, and what I do today is political consulting, and consult clients all over the world on international relations.
Okay. And Andrii, you were working then in Washington, D.C. during 2016, during the election.
Yes, I was in Washington since December 15th, and I left Washington, D.C. in the embassy, and June 1st I came back to Kiev. I resigned from the embassy, and then I resigned from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Ukraine, which the embassy goes under, in June 17th, officially. So.
And that was in 2016 that you resigned, is that correct?
Yes, 2016.
Okay, and so you were working under, was this the Poroshenko government? No? Or is this...
Yes, it was under Poroshenko, and who still is the president of Ukraine. And what's my point of view is I don't want to have this, have Ukraine involved in this as the country or the people.
Right.
Because it's a great country, great people, but it's the Poroshenko government, Poroshenko regime, which was involved in this, which was playing games in bed with the DNC, the Clintons, and the Democratic Party, basically.
Okay.
And trying to play their own games,
right,
and help them win the elections, or help them assist win the elections.
Yeah, so they tried to help the Clintons win at all costs, and you have some background information on that.
Yes, from the beginning, when I was assigned to the post and overseeing the elections, it was a strange process because we could basically, I was ordered to talk to anybody I want except the Trump campaign team, which for me was interesting because I used to work in high government positions before that, and I know how basically in international relations stuff, I know how this process works, and this is not a good start already. So I started to investigate more and more, but which I was told to investigate Trump. Charlie, the ambassador, told me to do that, and I know that he took orders from the presidential administration here in Kiev, and from the head of administration, Loshkin, and the president himself, because he has a direct line to the president at the embassy. And basically, from my sources, which I have contacted in Washington, journalists and top newspapers, Wall Street Journal, Washington Post, etc., they did not find anything, and I did not find anything from my sources in Kiev that the Secret Service that connected the presidential candidate Trump to any Russia collusion or FSB actions or etc. So then I was asking questions to the ambassador, like, why are we doing this? We should talk to every campaign. Maybe they have their own position and they have their own point on Crimea or other topics which may not be as direct or as other candidates, but still he might become the president, and that's their position. We have to convince them and show them that there's another side to the coin, which the embassy, it's normal embassy work that we have to do. We cannot take sides.
Sure.
And at that point, Ambassador Charlie told me, don't talk to Trump campaign. If you talk to them, we'll fire you, etc., etc. I said, look, I can talk to them. If something goes wrong, you can blame me. But I think nothing's going to go wrong. We're just going to talk to everybody, because he spoke to the Cruz campaign office,
right.
He spoke to Kasich, and Oksana Shlyar spoke to the Clinton campaign, and so we were in contact with mostly everybody,
right,
who were in top positions at that time. So, except the Trump campaign.
Well, can you tell me a little bit then about this Alexandra Chalupa? That she was a DNC operative and she had contact with the Ukrainian embassy?
Yeah, I was introduced to her end of March, beginning of April. Exact date I don't remember at this time, because that meeting for me was, I didn't expect it to be what it came out to be for my future life. I was asked to come and join Oksana Shlyar at Leopold's. It's a cafe right outside the embassy, less than a block outside the embassy, and I was introduced to Alexandra Chalupa, and she introduced herself, Chalupa, as a DNC operative working for the DNC, for the basically Clinton campaign, and collecting any dirt or background information on Paul Manafort, presidential candidate Donald Trump, or any other campaign official from the Trump campaign, and their connections to Russia or
right.
FSB or Russian mob or Ukrainian mob, etc., etc. And that's how she introduced herself. That's what she told me, and this is what I told in the Politico article also. And she said that this is going to be used for a committee hearing in Congress under a congresswoman. I don't want to mention her name on record. If I can say it off record, but don't. If you just don't mention, can I say it or?
Maybe you could just text it to me later. Yeah.
Yeah. And she's going to head the committee in September, October 2016, and take presidential candidate Donald Trump off the election. So that's our basic talk. We talked for an hour, talking about her background, my background, and why they asked me to help, because I used to work with the prosecutor's office of Ukraine, and the first deputy prime minister overseeing security offices of Ukraine, basically the Secret Service. And I said, look, okay, I'm going to look into it.
Right.
And then after the meeting we spoke, I spoke to Oksana Shlyar, what are we doing here? This is totally wrong.
Right.
Before, you told me not to get involved with the Trump campaign or even talk to them. Now it's totally wrong. What we're trying to take sides, basically, and one candidate to win. And what she said to me, Trump is a pro-Russian. I said, look, we had a discussion that I had my evidence that there's nothing connecting him at that point. And from my side, my little investigation.
Right.
And she said, look, he's pro-Russian. We have to work with Chalupa. Clinton's going to win. It's going to be better for Ukraine. If he did this, then Ukraine's going to be on a better side. And I said, look, what if she doesn't win?
Yeah.
She didn't answer that. That was my discussion with Oksana Shlyar after the meeting with Chalupa.
Okay.
And then I also started.
Let me ask you, Andrii, excuse me for 1 second. Let me ask you again. I wasn't clear about what you said, but Chalupa had told you that there was a Democrat, I guess, in Washington who was going to have a hearing, and they were going to, or she was going to sit on a hearing anyway, and they were going to discuss Trump and Russia. Is that basically?
Yeah, they wanted to have Democratic congressmen have a hearing in Congress in September, October 2016.
Right.
And using the evidence against
Trump.
presidential candidate Trump to take him off the presidential campaign, to take him off the elections.
Oh, so kick him out during some sort of hearings they were going to hold in October of 2016. The other thing is I wanted to just confirm, you said you met with Alexandra Chalupa in April of 2016. And March
or April.
Okay.
March or beginning of April.
Okay, and we know that the investigation by the intelligence community, the FBI, did not start until July of 2016. So they were already operating and trying to find dirt on Trump. Although this was a DNC operative, she was not with the intelligence community, it sounds like.
No, and what she told me is that she was, while she did this investigation, also on her own, through other sources, her house was open, like her door in the house was knocked down, some stuff was stolen at her house, her car was opened, and so the items in the car were laid out in the front seat of the car. She told me this, and I was like, okay, that's strange, but if something would have happened like this in the United States, wouldn't she go to the media, or the media would get, oh, no, she said this is the Russians and this is Trump trying to take me off my investigation and trying to threaten me. I was like, okay, but usually, even in Ukraine now, the media would cover this.
Sure.
This would be big.
Right.
And she doesn't even talk about it still today.
Right.
Which is strange for
me. Well,
I
I noticed it was back in that article. She mentioned it there, but again, it doesn't. It could be either here nor there. It doesn't really prove anything. It's just, you know.
And also about Chalupa, she used to work with the White House for the Clintons, as I recall.
Okay.
From my research, and she's not just some person from the street,
right?
Or somebody just working for the DNC as she said, on a couple of months basis. She's a permanent DNC worker still today.
Wow.
Even after this whole scandal.
Right.
And what's going on right now is nobody's even questioning her. Nobody's questioning me on this issue. Like, I didn't want to get my main goal in this from the beginning was to unofficially deliver the message to our president Poroshenko, because I have contacts to his administration, and to have Charlie removed because people in Washington after Trump got elected were not happy.
Sure.
And the only thing is quietly remove the ambassador, just forget about this issue. It's going to be on the table for a while, but we're going to forget about it and move on. Somebody has to take the blame for this.
Right.
And Poroshenko didn't hear me out, so by coincidence, I had some friends in Washington who heard my story before, and they were reached out by journalists who are writing on Ukraine in December 2016, and I said, okay, I'll talk to them. If somebody wants to hear me unofficially, I'll talk to them openly on the record. I didn't tell them everything I know, and I tried to get the president, not to mention his name because I didn't want to ruin the country's reputation.
Right.
But I know that the president took it personally to his side.
Yeah.
And when the article came out, Vice President Biden was in Kiev, and he showed Poroshenko, the president of Ukraine, this article, basically.
Wow.
And so that's where Poroshenko took it really personally to his side, and I started getting threats.
Wow.
Towards me when the article came out in January 2017.
Sure. Wow, that's amazing.
So this is the whole, I didn't want to ruin the country's reputation or anybody's. I just wanted to get our relationship with the United States on a better level, because this was on the table and we need to take it off.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, it got worse. Everybody stick to their side. Chalupa's still working for the DNC. After the article came out, I started getting threats, and I started getting information that I'm Charlie, the ambassador in Washington, and people in Washington are saying that I'm a Russian spy or connected to Russia, which started to ruin my reputation in Washington, D.C.
Right.
And so this all got to a level where I was not reached out by any authorities.
Amazing.
In Washington,
right.
Even though I tried to reach out on my own and to talk and deliver the message, investigate. Look, this is what happened. Hear me out. Take into the fact that you want to use it. If you don't,
Right.
I have more to say because the president was personally involved in this administration, President Poroshenko. So
Okay. Now, let me ask you this again. Did Alexandra Chalupa, did she say anything that kind of took you back, that surprised you? Was she saying anything about the Russians or information, or was she wanting you to put together documents? What was her purpose?
she said, if you can find or collect or get any data or information, basically dirt, that's what she used, on Trump or Paul Manafort, and connecting him to Russians or the Russian mob or the Ukrainian mob, who's also connected to Russia, that would be really helpful for
Right.
us to take him off the campaign or the elections.
And that's exactly what she did. She was behind the Manafort report that got him pretty much kicked off, I think, the campaign. And but she also has contacts, it sounds like, with David Isikoff and some of these other characters who were early on involved in this Russia conspiracy. So it's very interesting that she's never been contacted.
Yeah, she's still really working with the embassy closely, and she's still working close. You know, this the Kremlin annex outside the White House protest, what they're doing
Right
now. She's the one who's organizing this through some of her friends who are part of the Ukrainian diaspora but are liberals, and they're the ones who are still there. So this is all open. She's not even hiding it today.
Wow.
Her sister reached out to me and she started threatening me that, if you have this information, the Democratic House will investigate you. And she wrote this to me on Twitter, and I said, okay, I'm ready. And this is what I want. I want to investigate. I want this off my shoulders, and I want to move on with my life.
Right.
I want my reputation back. I wanted to show that I was telling the truth, because
Right.
it's not just Chalupa and the DNC involved with the meetings with the embassy official, which is illegal. Well, they're trying to portray Trump Jr. meeting in the Trump Tower with some lawyer from Russia who's had some alleged connections to the Prosecutor General of Russia or FSB, but nothing official, and tried to destroy his reputation and indict him.
Right.
But you have on the other side the DNC operative, official representative of the Democratic National Committee, reaching out, asking for information from a Ukrainian government official, me personally,
Right.
and working with the embassy, but I'm talking about my story here also, but she reached out to me asking for dirt and get this information out. And a couple months later, she's involved with destroying one of the top managers of the Trump campaign, Paul Manafort.
Right.
And his reputation through the Black Ledger book and this all information which came out through Naboo, DOJ connections, and nobody's talking about Ukraine, like Poroshenko connections with
Right.
collusions with the Democrats. Everybody's just quiet about it.
Do you think a lot of this information that made it into the dossier and this and that was coming from Ukraine?
Some friends that I have, they used to, after all this came out and we talked and my story came out, we started talking. They worked for Orbis at 2015, 2016, and they used to write reports on Ukraine, Russia, and they used to write true reports before, because they got paid $2,000-3,000 a month, which is a good payment for writing reports here in Eastern Europe. And in 2015, they used to write true reports overall, what's happening in Ukraine, who's connected to who, etc. But it got boring because there was action, but there's nothing.
Yeah.
There was no action to the Trump basically team or Trump personally. So in 2016, they were ordered to start writing something more interesting.
Right.
Basically falsify the data, but they didn't know what it's going to be about. They were just told make it more interesting, falsify, add more spice to it.
Yeah. And that's where the dossier came from?
Yes, this is for Orbis, and Orbis used it for the Steele dossier, which now is all in the top mass media talking about how Trump colluded with Russia.
Right. Amazing. Well, thank you for that. I'm going to hit the recorder now.
Yeah.
And